Welcome to Insightful Gaming. Today we have a build that's going to blow your mind. Imagine running a Master Lost Sector or Master Nightfall 20 under the recommended power level, just letting your Arc Soul do all the killing for you. That's not even the best part. With this build, you can have infinite Arc Souls, infinite healing rifts, and grenades, and overall, you'll be melting everything in sight. And the best part, this is all achievable with just one Warlock exotic, Getaway Artist. But hold on, we're not done yet. There are fragments that make this build even more potent. If you enjoyed this build and found it helpful, please don't forget to like the video, leave a comment below, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting builds and gaming content. Now let's jump straight into it. So, with that introduction out of the way, let's dive into the nitty-gritty of how this build works and how it can help you do well in endgame PvE activities. This Warlock Arc Soul build is all about generating as many abilities as possible, especially the Arc Soul, which will provide both ad clearing and insane damage. The gameplay loop is fairly simple. First, consume your grenade to spawn an Arc Soul, which will then start killing enemies and generating ionic traces for you. When you get a weapon Final Blow, you'll also spawn 2 Void Elemental Wells, which you can pick up to gain damage resistance and class energy. Then, throw down a Healing Rift to heal yourself and your teammates and repeat the cycle. With the right setup of aspects, fragments, and mods, you'll be able to get infinite Arc Souls and infinite abilities, making this build incredibly effective in endgame PvE content. But what abilities are we using to make this build so potent? First, we have Chaos Reach as the ultimate, which is great for dealing massive damage to bosses and other tough enemies. For our grenade, we're using the Storm Grenade because it has the shortest cooldown, which means we'll be able to convert our grenade into an Arc Soul quicker. Our class ability is the Healing Rift, which will not only heal you and your teammates, but also provide a boost to your Arc Soul's rate of fire. For our jump ability, we're using Burst Glide, which provides an extra boost of speed and can help you get out of danger quickly. Finally, our melee ability is Chain Lightning, which chains damage to nearby enemies, making it great for clearing out groups of weaker enemies. Let's dive into the aspects of this build. As I mentioned earlier, the main aspect that ties this build together is the Arc Soul, which spawns when you cast a Healing Rift. The Arc Soul not only provides an extra source of ad clearing and damage, but it also generates ionic traces when it kills enemies, which will help you generate even more abilities. Additionally, while your Rift is amplified, your Arc Souls are supercharged and have an increased fire rate, making them even more effective. The second aspect we are using is Electrostatic Mind. This aspect is all about generating ionic traces, which we need to keep the loop going. Defeating enemies with arc abilities or defeating a jolted or blinded target will create an ionic trace for you. Then, collecting an ionic trace makes you amplified and gives you ability energy, helping you get your Rift and Arc Soul back even faster. This aspect is crucial to the build as it helps you generate more abilities, which is the key to the gameplay loop. Overall, these aspects work together to create an almost self-sustaining loop of abilities, with the Arc Soul providing the extra firepower and Electrostatic Mind generating more abilities to keep the loop going. This makes the build incredibly effective in endgame PvE activities where having a steady supply of abilities can make all the difference. And the best part, you don't need any specific mods or weapons to make this build work, making it incredibly flexible and adaptable to your playstyle. To make this Warlock Arc Soul build even more potent, we're using 4 specific fragments that synergize perfectly with the abilities we're using. First up is Spark of Resistance, which increases the damage resistance you receive while standing in your Healing Rift. This is especially useful when you're surrounded by enemies and need a quick burst of health to survive. By using this fragment, you'll be able to tank more damage and stay alive longer. Next, we have Spark of Recharge, which increases the recharge rate of your class ability when you or your allies pick up an Elemental Well. Since we're generating so many Elemental Wells with this build, this fragment is incredibly useful for keeping your abilities charged and ready to go. With this fragment, you'll be able to throw down your Healing Rift more often, providing you and your teammates with more frequent healing. Moving on, we have Spark of Volts, which increases the chain range of your Arc Soul. This means that when your Arc Soul kills an enemy, it will chain to nearby enemies, dealing even more damage and generating even more ionic traces for you. With this fragment, you'll be able to clear ads even faster and generate even more abilities, making your Arc Soul even more deadly. Finally, we have Spark of Shock, which causes your Arc Soul to occasionally stun enemies it damages. This is incredibly useful for slowing down enemies, giving you more time to kill them or reposition yourself. It also provides a bit of crowd control, making it easier to deal with groups of enemies at once. With all 4 of these fragments working together, you'll be able to generate more abilities, tank more damage, clear ads even faster, and stun enemies to make them easier to deal with. While we don't necessarily need mods to make this build effective, there are some mods that can significantly increase our damage output and make our abilities more efficient. On the helmet, we are using Bountiful Wells, which increases the duration of our class ability, allowing us to keep our healing rifts up for longer. On the gauntlets, we are using Font of Might, which increases our melee damage and regenerates our melee energy when we get a kill with a powered melee ability. On the chest, we are using Melee Wellmaker, which increases our melee damage and gives us a chance to generate a healing well on powered melee final blows. On the boots, we are using Well of Utility, which increases the duration of our grenade effects and gives us class energy when we use our grenade. Finally, on the Warlock Bond, we are using Reaping Wellmaker, which increases our grenade damage and gives us a chance to generate a healing well on grenade final blows. With these mods, we can make our grenades and melee more effective and increase our overall damage output in endgame activities. In conclusion, this Warlock Arc Soul build is an incredibly effective and versatile build for endgame PvE activities. With just one exotic, getaway artist, and the right combination of aspects, fragments, and mods, you can have infinite Arc Souls, infinite abilities, and a steady supply of healing and grenades, making you almost unstoppable. The gameplay loop is simple and easy to execute, with the Arc Soul providing ad clearing and DPS, while the Electrostatic Mine generates even more abilities to keep the loop going. The aspects and fragments all work together to create an almost self-sustaining loop of abilities, making this build incredibly powerful and fun to use. And the best part, this build is incredibly flexible and adaptable to your playstyle, meaning you can make it work for you in any endgame activity. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this build and found it helpful, please don't forget to like the video, leave a comment below, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting builds and gaming content. Have a great rest of your week.
We're approaching the temple, Patrick.
Copy that. Standing by.